there might be a really cool scene, like let's say they're in, you know, a sewer or something, and you want a certain kind of lighting on them, and then you flip to a different, I don't know, a different scene in a hospital, but you kind of want the same color. Well, you really gotta flip, and you really gotta make sure that each scene stands on its own. Like, it's recognizable. Okay, this is where they are. I know they're in this location because of the color. I found that really difficult in Doomsday Clock, because you had a 9-panel grid, and on one page you had 3 different locations sometimes, and it's like, oh man. So I always had to keep in mind, okay, well, I have to alter the color here in this panel, because even if they were the similar lighting, I would have to change it just so the reader knew that we're in a different location now. And that was tough with that 9-panel grid, and there was jumping around. Plus, never mind the load of characters in Doomsday Clock. It's crazy.
Perfect segue. You threw me an alley-oop, and I'm about to do a 360 windmill, because we're about to talk about Doomsday Clock right now. And the common denominator in Doomsday Clock is you and Jeff Johns, right? The writer. Yeah. And you worked with Gary Frank on Doomsday Clock. And so what's the work relationship developing Doomsday Clock with Jeff Johns?
Like, he would phone me, and he discussed the script like way before Doomsday Clock, and he says, yeah, I got this idea, this is what we want to do, and we want you to do it. Are you in? And I'm like, yeah, I'm 100% in. Yeah, for sure. And then he started telling me the story. And I had to hold that in for I don't know how many months before we even started getting artwork. Yeah, he's awesome though. So now we're moving on to another project, and yeah, he's been really good to me. So, and even Gary and Jeff, they're just, you know, they kind of give me the okay to kind of do what I want. And then, you know, if there's something that isn't in the script, and we can change it after. But yeah, I got pretty much free reign. So really good guys to work with. It just makes my job so much easier. Yeah, they have I think they give me a lot of, they have a lot of confidence in what I'm doing, which allows me to really, I don't know, like, add to what they're doing.
I know a lot of fans was disappointed for the delays and all that stuff, but now that the hardcover is out, the paperback is out, I hope that they get an opportunity to binge read that, because they're in for an awesome treat. But I wanted to ask about Doomsday Clock and the collaborating process versus Three Jokers, working with Gary Frank and working with Jason. Do you change your approach working with different artists, or you pretty much have your style that you kind of assimilate within the different artists?
Well, I think with the Three Jokers and Doomsday, they're a little bit different. Like, Three Jokers, Jason had a lot of creative input into it, and he had a vision. This is what he wanted to look like. And Doomsday Clock was a little different. I think Jeff had more of this is the story, and then Gary kind of just illustrated what Jeff would put in the script, and they would discuss different things. But yeah, Three Jokers was Jay's baby kind of thing too, so he had a lot of input. They collaborate a lot more, I think, and we changed a bunch in the last issue. Was it issue 3, I think? Yeah, so it was all pretty much done, and then we went back and they rewrote a bunch of the scripts, so we had a bunch of new artwork in it. Yeah, Doomsday Clock, it was a different animal, I think, kind of thing. So it was more of Jeff's story, I think, for Doomsday.
I'm probably the hugest Jeff Johns fan, so I'm gonna let that out there. I'm a big
he's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like all the way from Green Lantern to now. So anything with his name on, I pick up. Blackest Night, Sinestro Corps War, and then Doomsday Clock. You could tell that he really felt strongly about Doomsday Clock. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, it was. I think he said he called me. This must be. I think Trump first got elected, and he said as soon as Trump got elected, he had this idea. Just boom. And he talked to Gary, ran it by him, and then, you know, probably went through DC and stuff, then talked to me. He says, would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, this sounds crazy. So a lot of it, I was getting scripts and pieces at the beginning, and then it was a lot of work. And then I knew the entire story, but I didn't know book per book or page per page, like script story. And then once I got that, I was blown away. This is crazy. And then Gary started sending me his artwork, and I'm a
that
huge
dude is
Gary
amazing.
fan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Incredible, for sure.
I would get he would scan in his artwork and he would send it to me, and I would clean it. I'd zoom in and I'd, dodge and burn, and I'd make it like pure black and white, scale it, make it for printing size, color size. So I get to go over every panel, every piece of his artwork, and I'm just, part of me, I wanted the book to be printed in black and white because it was so gorgeous, because I'm a massive comic book art fan. And but once I started getting it and I got to do the color, and once we started, I was really nervous. I mean, the Watchmen, DC Universe, like, oh man, what am I going to do with this? So the whole opening scene, I think the first scene with Rorschach in the jail, I did 3 times, 3 different scenes, like 3 different colors. Mm-hmm. And first one I did, I sent it, and Gary's like, no, well, we need this. It's got to be a little more of the Watchmen universe. So I'm like, okay, sorry. I just kind of freaking out here. Then I redid it. Then I did it a 3rd time, tweaking it a bit. And that's the final version that you guys saw. So
when did you finish your last page? When did you turn in and said, I'm done?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I'd have to check. It always, when I was finally finished, it would go back, Brian Cunningham, Amadeo, editors would go through it, Gary, Jeff, and then we had all the back matting stuff, the black and white stuff, all the extra stuff in it. We would always add stuff right at the end. So it went right down to the wire a few times. And then last issue, I remember the deadline was pretty, like, we had to meet it. So I was doing, there was a couple days I was trying to get like 5 pages done in one day.
Wow.
Lot of hours. Like, I'd start about 5:30 in the morning and I'd work till probably 7 at night.
Wow.
To get it all. Yeah, it was a lot of hours, but I mean, I loved it. And I wanted to keep the same consistency throughout. Like, the last issue, I wanted to look as good as the first issue, right? So
I'm a huge fan of indie comics, and recently announced that you, Jeff, and Gary are about to release the Image comic called Geiger. Is there any way that you can share any details about what it's about or anything? Whatever you can.
I honestly, I can't. Like, whatever isn't out in media right now, I can't really. I do have 2.5 issues here.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me rephrase it. Are you excited about Geiger? Tell me a little bit about how excited you are about it.
This stuff, the artwork that Gary's sending me is probably his best stuff. Like, it looks so good. Like, he's so into it. Jeff's got this insane story. He ran this story by me it's got to be 6 months ago, if not more. And I was like, oh my God. Like, so I was telling my wife, I go, this is like, I kind of told her the storyline, and I'm like, how cool is that? Like, I hope it gets made into a movie or a TV or a Netflix series or something down the road, because it's really cool.
Like, if there was any 3 people that get me to not buy a DC story, it's Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, and Brad Anderson.
It's really cool. Like, it's really cool. Like, Jeff's a genius when it comes to that stuff. Like, the stuff that comes out of his head, I don't know how he does it, like, it's amazing. Never done any Image stuff before either, so I'm pretty excited about trying that. And I'm just kind of going along with these guys, and like, they're basically handling everything, and I'm just kind of going in and adding some color to it after. So
not only is Geiger coming out, also the 3rd installment of Batman Earth One, Earth One, and Volume 3, the 3rd installment of that. And so, are you still working on that? Are you kind of juggling between that and Geiger, or is that already wrapped up?
No, I'm literally, like, Batman Earth 1 Volume 3 is a massive book. 160 pages or something like that. So
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the final. I don't think I have all the inks. I got. I'm waiting on a bunch of the end, but I'm plugging away at it. Like, it's a big project, so I'm kind of doing chunks at a time. In between, like, I wrapped up Action Comics, so I would whenever I have time, I kind of jump on a bunch of pages for the Batman Earth 1 stuff.
So you and Gary are juggling Geiger and that still, like, that's crazy.
Well, Gary's done with Batman Earth 1, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm at the color stage now, so yeah.
On average, I know things are different. You know, each issue is different. But on average, how long does it take you to color like a standard 22 page issue?
Probably a week. Yeah. Like, I've been doing it for 22 years, something like that. So I try to keep a good business schedule, you know, Monday to Friday, because I have a family and everything. And so when my kids were young, I wanted to make sure, okay, I'm going to work from, 8 to 4. I try to take weekends off, stuff like that, and just try to keep a real work schedule. And it helps with, like, kids' school schedule, my wife's work schedule, that kind of thing. And I find it helps me keep sane. Because I've been working from home for 20 years. So if I think, well, I'll just work whenever, well, then it's like you're working all the time. Yeah. So, if I work in the evenings, I just don't want to get into a bad routine. So I just try to keep a regular work schedule. So for me to do, like, say I have a 22-page issue, I have my calendars full. Okay, I have these books due on these dates. I break it down per day. This is what I need to get done per day. And then I just go from there, and I just buckle down and do it.
Curiosity is killing my cat. Curiosity is killing my cat right now. Recently, we found out that you guys, like, since the pandemic and all that, and there's no conventions, we're finding out that there's a lot of like facilitated signings and all of that stuff. But I know you're in Canada, and I believe Jason's in Canada, and I know Jeff lives out here. And we found out that you guys are going to be coming together or something, doing a private signing. How does that work? Are you guys actually going to be with each other, or is it like an assembly line? How's that work?
Yeah, well, I got an email I saw that they were going to be doing this signing, and then I got an email saying, would you be interested in coming down to Florida, I think, for the CBG?
CGC.
Yeah, sorry, CGC.
It's okay.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I was like, yeah, for sure, right? So how it is I guess people mail their stuff in. They have, like, huge facility, vaults and everything's there, and then the three of us show up there with masks and everything, and we sign everything at once, and then they ship everything out. I'm not sure how it's going to work for time wise.
Do you have to do the 14-day quarantine right now and all that?
See, I don't know what's going to happen.
It's Florida, Chris. It's Florida.
Okay, so probably not.
Well, yeah, but for us to come back home, I'm not sure how it's going to work. So I'm assuming it's going to be in the new year by the time we actually get down there and do stuff. So, but yeah, it'll be the three of us signing at the same time.
We like to meet you and get it all that. So we're not really like the type that want to mail our copies away, because they're like babies. Too.
That's like us. Like that, I like, like, it was awesome meeting you and, like, getting to chat and talk about stuff. And I had, I think, San Diego this past summer, San Diego, New York, and Toronto I was gonna do. And then COVID hit and everything got canceled. I was like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm jealous of all the people that are going to get triple signed CGC stuff. I mean, we don't care about the CGC stuff, but the triple signed aspect of Three Jokers Laugh every freaking issue. And so I'm just like, teary-eyed, and I know people that I know are going to be rubbing into my face.
Especially with such a big project, I was so looking forward to it. Like, even when Doomsday Clock ended, I was talking to Gary, and for Gary to come in from Italy, like, it's a full week that he can't work or nothing, and the time difference and everything else. And he says, I could maybe do New York or Toronto, and I think he was going to come in, and I thought, this is going to be awesome, so I'll book him so we could be at the same show together. But yeah, everything got shut down. So
as we wrap up, one last question. Do you have any positive words, just words of wisdom, really, for aspiring artists out there trying to break into the comic book industry?
My biggest thing is you got to realize that there's so much talent out there. It's so competitive. Just soak up any criticism that you could get, any critiques from pros or whatever. Like, don't take it personally. Like, I would get stuff back from, Andy or just other guys, and I would never, do you think they would ask if I could change something? And I'm like, yeah, dude, no problem. Like, let's get this right. I want it to look awesome. I want you to be proud of it. Like I'm not going to get pissed off because I did the wrong color or it didn't work. I said, it's easy for me to take stuff out. And you got to realize it's a commercial art. So don't think of yourself as the fancy artist kind of thing. Like, yeah, you got to crank this stuff out. Deadlines are huge. If you could be fast and good, that's an asset. So, but yeah, criticism, I think, is the biggest thing.
When did you decide, did you start off drawing? When did you decide that coloring was your niche?
Well, I still do a fair amount of illustration, but all my time is obviously for color work right now. But I went to the Kubert School back in 96-ish. And I wanted to be a narrative artist and I wanted to draw comics. I was always talented in illustration. I thought, let's do it. And then I thought, you know what? I love movies and I kind of wanted to become a storyboard artist. And then we were learning Photoshop in one of our classes there. We had to do acrylic painting and inking and lettering, all these classes. And I just kind of gravitated to the acrylic paint. I did a bunch of some pretty cool full painted stuff, like traditional brush. And then when I moved back to Canada, I started working at a place called Digital Chameleon, which was doing almost all comics was coming out of Canada at the time, and they had a digital separation company. So they would have colorists send their color pages, and then this Digital Chameleon would convert them to a digital file, right? So do digital color. So I started working there, and we used to get we were doing, I think I was working on Kazar at the time. Andy Kubert was drawing Kazar, and we would get pages and you would color them by hand, and then with markers they'd photocopy the pages, we color them by hand, we write down the CMYK codes to certain things, give that to the digital separation floor, and they would convert that to the digital file. But there was tons, all X-Men stuff was coming out of Winnipeg, the Hulk, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it was really neat. So I became an art director there, and then I've been doing it pretty much ever since. But I was doing illustration for this company. It was called the Sports Vault, and I would draw animation cells, and I would do caricatures of Wayne Gretzky and a bunch of hockey player, baseball guys, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I've been doing it for a long time, so. Yeah.
And you're good at it. Hello,
right?
You're great at it, man. Ladies and gentlemen out there in Stash Land, please pick up The Three Jokers. It's out on hardcover. Please pick up Doomsday Clock. It's out on hardcover and softcover, where it has all 12 issues from cover to cover. Check it out. It's worth the read. That's all for our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. We are the Stash Bros. I'm Mike, speaking for Chris and Brad. We're out. Peace!